This was done to her son by a teacher.
Plus, the name already being tossed around to replace Attorney General Jeff Sessions, the well-known Florida woman who may be on the short list.
And a giant lizard on the loose for months in South Florida, finally caught.
And now, first at 11, a local mother claims her son was punched in the face and badly injured by a teacher. Good evening. I'm Todd McDermott.
And I'm Felicia Rodriguez. Thank you for joining us. That mother says her son has a fractured eye socket. Shane Wright joins us live. He spoke with that mother. Shane?
Yeah, Todd and Felicia, imagine sending your child off to school only to get a phone call later in the day that he's on the way to the hospital in an ambulance after a teacher punched him in the face. That's what a Bear Lakes student's mother says happened to her on Monday, and now she wants that teacher behind bars.
Pushed my son into the classroom, threw him over a desk, and punched him in his eye.
Alicia Wilson is not talking about a fight her son got into at school with another student.
I plan on, getting a restraining order so that he's not in the presence of my son or my daughter.
She says it was a teacher at Bear Lakes Middle School who punched her 14-year-old son in the face, leaving him with a fractured eye socket and possible concussion.
I started to cry. My son, he couldn't really say anything to me.
Eventually, Wilson says her son, Alvin Mack Jr., told her he was walking to his second period class when he claims he got into a verbal argument with the teacher in the hallway. After another student tried to step in between, the 8th grader says the teacher reached around, grabbed, and pushed him before throwing that punch.
Disbelief, like this is something you see on Facebook. This is something you see on TV. This is not enough you would think that would happen to somebody close to you.
Ty Mack is Alvin's aunt and says while there's two sides to every story, there's nothing Alvin could have done to deserve what happened.
Oh God, he's a child. This is a grown man. Right or wrong, he shouldn't have did it.
The Palm Beach School District declined to comment, saying it's an open investigation. Alvin's mom admits her son has had some behavioral problems in the past at the school, but it's mostly with this specific teacher.
My reaction is to fight, to be honest. But, I'm a parent and showing my kids the right way to go.
That's his score. Come on. Now, back in the day, we would have been sitting outside his job at Bear Lakes waiting for him to get in his car. Okay, his mama way more humble than me. I'm going to let her do what she got to do, but me, no.
Now, we do have the name of that teacher, but we're not releasing it until we get official confirmation from the school district. Alvin's mom tells me that that teacher is not one of her son's teacher. Her son has never been arrested before, she says, and she has filed a police report with the district police. Live in West Palm Beach, Shane Wright, Wpbf 25 News.
Shane, thank you. In just a few minutes, we take a closer look at a different fight in a classroom involving a teacher and student.
That high school music teacher was caught on video punching a student. More details coming up later in the show.
You want to see Aunt Kristen?
A 3-year-old girl shot in the head during a road rage attack in Port St. Lucie is now out of a medically induced coma. Doctors began waking Presley Jean up on Friday. She's been moving her arms and legs, opening her eyes, and squeezing people's hands. Port St. Lucie police are still searching for the person who shot the little girl while she was sitting in the back seat of a truck with her brother. There is a reward up to $5,000 for information leading to an arrest.
Breaking news tonight, according to multiple media outlets, Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi may be on the short list to be President Donald Trump's next Attorney General. Just hours after the midterm elections, Attorney General Jeff Sessions was forced to resign at the request of President Trump. The president tweeted that Sessions' chief of staff, Matt Whitaker, would become the new acting attorney general. In previous work as a political commentator, Whitaker has said the Mueller-Russia probe has gone too far and could be shut down by cutting off funding. The president thanked Sessions for his service. Sessions, the first U.S. senator to endorse Trump for president, endured more than a year of withering criticism from the president because he recused himself from overseeing the investigation into possible illegal coordination between the Russian government and the Trump campaign. Sessions did so because of his own contact with Russian officials during that campaign. Also new tonight, the White House has suspended the White House pass of CNN chief White House correspondent Jim Acosta, quote, until further notice, after his fiery public confrontation with the president today in the East Room.
At a White House news conference, Acosta tried to ask President Trump multiple questions after the president celebrated the GOP's showing in the midterm election.
Honestly, I think you should let me run the country. You run CNN.
All right.
And if you did it well, your ratings
Let
would
me
be
ask,
much better.
if I may
Okay,
ask
that's
one other
enough.
question. Mr. President, if I may ask
Peter,
one
go
other
ahead.
question, are you worried?
That's enough. That's enough.
Mr. President, I
That's
was
enough.
going to ask one of the other folks.
That's enough.
Pardon me, ma'am. Mr.
Excuse
President.
me. That's enough.
White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders announced in a statement Acosta would be stripped of what's known as a hard pass, which gives him access to the White House grounds. CNN says Acosta has the network's full support. Well, even though Republicans lost the House, President Trump is declaring the midterm elections another big win.
Today, the president extended an olive branch of sorts to House Democratic leader Nancy Pelosi, who will likely be chosen by Democrats to again become the Speaker of the House.
You know, she loves this country. And she's a very smart woman. She's done a very good job.
Pelosi and Trump pledged today to work together, but the president was also asked about House Democrats wanting to hold the White House accountable and perhaps launch several investigations into the administration's activities and practices. Mr. Trump said if House Democrats come after him, he'll go after them with help from the Republican-led Senate.
They can play that game, but we can play it better because we have a thing called the United States Senate. And all you're going to do is end up in back and forth and back and forth, and 2 years is going to go up, and we won't have done a thing.
The president says he is willing to work with Democrats on issues like health care and infrastructure improvements, but warned that any bipartisanship would, quote, grind to a halt if they investigate him.
Now that this campaign is behind us, that's where we're going to leave it.
But is it behind us? In the race for Senate, Governor Rick Scott was quick to claim victory in last night's election after getting declared the winner by Fox News. But Senator Bill Nelson is not giving up his Senate seat without a fight. Nelson has not publicly conceded the race. That race now looks close enough to trigger an automatic recount as required by Florida law. Even with Scott slightly ahead late last night when we were on the air 24 hours ago, there were outstanding precincts that had not been counted.
In the state of Florida, an automatic recount is triggered when the final margin is less than half a percentage point. Now, the state's 67 county supervisor of elections will submit their first set of unofficial election results by Saturday. Then, state officials can officially call for the recount if necessary. The Nelson campaign released a statement saying, quote, "We expect the supervisors, regardless of their party affiliation, will discharge their constitutional duties."
Today, Governor-elect Ron DeSantis announced his transition team. He declared victory last night after receiving a concession phone call from Democrat Andrew Gillum. Congressman Matt Gaetz, Florida House Speaker Richard Corcoran, former Lieutenant Governor Tony Jennings, and former Senator George Lemieux will chair DeSantis' transition team. Campaign Chair Susie Wiles will serve as executive director. Ron DeSantis' former chief of staff, Scott Parkinson, will be deputy executive director. Mike?
All right, Todd, let's talk about the weather. You may have seen a flash of lightning or two across parts of Palm Beach County. Got some rain just offshore and some showers moving onshore. And some of these showers are going to produce some heavy downpours. At the moment, 78 degrees. You can see it's raining in West Palm Beach. Winds are light from the northeast at about 3 miles per hour. Here it is, our first alert Doppler radar. A busy night as we track those showers moving onshore between 10 and 15 miles per hour. Again, from time to time, a flash of lightning with some organized rain now moving quickly through Royal Palm Beach and just past Loxahatchee Groves. We move a little bit farther to the east. Look at this rain. Now on Palm Beach, moving off toward the northwest at about 11 miles per hour. So these are the locations that will hear and see some raindrops between now and about 11:15, 11:20 or so. And as you can see, there are more showers moving our way. So as we head through the evening hours, more rain for the Palm Beaches and the Treasure Coast. By the way, the Treasure Coast at the moment is dry. We'll track this rain, talk about more heat and a big change in the temperatures when I'm back with South Florida Certified. Most accurate forecasts in a couple minutes.
Mike, thank you. New tonight, a veterinarian is calling it a miracle that this dog is alive.
It's just hard to see. Dice was found locked in a cage. The dog had been there for about a week with no food, no water. Aria Height has the story now and how you can help.
This is Dice, and while Dice is also very playful, I have never seen a dog this thin. I mean, Dice was abandoned, Dice was neglected, and now there's a local rescue that's trying to save his life.
Hey, buddy. How you doing? doing?
It's been a few days since Dr. Muzzy Saeed has seen Dice. Believe it or not, this is Dice after gaining 4 pounds. When he was found on November 1st, he looked like this, only 30 pounds, less than half what he should weigh.
It's very rare for us to see dogs in this condition. Quite miraculous even that he survived.
Dice had been locked in a cage outside in Fort Lauderdale for at least a week. No food, no water, no idea who his owner is. Police officers found Dice and brought him to animal control. Someone at animal control called Feeling Fine Canine Rescue in Loxahatchee.
When I first saw him, I couldn't believe that he was even still alive. Of course, when we saw him, how could we turn a blind eye to him and not help him?
Okay, fantastic.
Feeling Fine brought Dice to Pet Life Animal Hospital, who started slowly giving him food and water.
He's tracking in the right direction, but as you can tell, he's still got a far ways to go.
Remarkably, Dice is pretty healthy, though he limps a little, probably from being stuck in a cage for a week. And maybe more remarkably, he's one of the happiest dogs you will ever see.
He wags his tail, he gives you kisses, all he wants is a treat and a hug.
He's excited to be alive, and he's excited to be recovering, that's for sure, you can tell.
And I want to show you one more thing about Dice, and that's his tail. They call this happy tail. He's so happy that he wags his tail, and he actually causes bruises, cut open here, bleeding a little bit. That's how happy this dog is, despite all the things that he's gone through. He will be ready for adoption in about 30 days. If you need more information on Dice, how you can help Dice, or perhaps you want to give Dice a home, all the information you need is on our website, Wpbf.com. Ari Height, WPBF 25 News.
Ari, I think Dice is looking at you.
Yeah, you're breaking our heart, Ari.
Well, next at 11, the classroom fight between a teacher and student dividing a community. Why money is pouring in for that teacher.
And a 100-pound lizard on the loose in South Florida is finally caught after months. Plus,
I started having potty parties with my friends, and I'm like, this may be something.
Potty training is a huge milestone for toddlers and parents, but it isn't always easy. Coming up, a local mom's unique approach to potty training.
What makes a great morning?
How about South Florida's certified most accurate forecast to plan your day? Traffic alerts to get you to work and school on time.
Breaking news impacting your community, family, and day.
Plus, that special feeling when you find a morning team you enjoy spending time with. So, what makes a great morning?
You'll know it when you spend it with us.
Your morning, your team. Watch WPBF 25 News mornings every day.
Tonight, I bet Kimmel's all new. Let's put our money on him. Find out what Melissa McCarthy's been up to.
Just wearing cat vests.
Plus, the hilarious Dennis Miller.
Honey, baby, let me finish.
And the Milk Carton Kids perform. Jimmy Kimmel Live, new tonight on ABC.
Going green because after a car accident, we know money matters.
$68,000 for 6 months of physical therapy for a single mom.
$345,000 for a student after his back surgery. And $7.5 million for a family who lost a loved one.
Of course we talk about the money because we're serious about helping people with serious injuries.
Money matters.
Anger is going green. 800-561-1111. 800-561-1111.
Remember your first bike? No, your first real bike. So can you imagine the feeling you'll get from your first real truck? The GMC Sierra. Step up to GMC with nearly $11,200 total value on this specially equipped GMC Sierra SLT when you finance through GM Financial.
This is not a bed. It's a revolution in sleep. The new Sleep Number 360 smart beds are on sale now during Sleep Number's Veterans Day sale. It senses your movement and automatically adjusts to keep you both comfortable. It even helps with this. So you wake up ready to put your pedal to the metal. And now during our Veterans Day sale, the Queen Sleep Number 360 C4 smart bed is only $12.99. Save $400, plus 24-month financing on all beds. Only for a limited time. Sleep Number, proven quality sleep.
This busy holiday season, you're covered with holiday bonus scratch-offs from the Florida Lottery, featuring more than 17.5 million winning tickets. Holiday bonus scratch-offs from the Florida Lottery. It's your ticket.
Claim it!
Some alarming new video shows a knockdown, drag-out fight between a teacher and student in the classroom. And it's creating a real divide in a California community after police arrested that now former teacher for child abuse. A GoFundMe page has raised more than $145,000 to support Marston Riley, who just resigned. Many are defending the popular music teacher, pointing to video before the fight. It shows a teenage student hitting him with a basketball, then berating him using racial slurs. Riley initially appears to try to de-escalate the situation, then he snaps.
It was a mistake that he swung at the student and let the emotions get to him, but I feel like it was the student's fault for provoking the fight.
That student had to be hospitalized. He then was released. Riley's out of jail on bond. Authorities are taking a close look at all the videos that were shot as this investigation continues.
2 Missouri daycare workers are facing charges over a so-called Fight Club video featuring 3- and 4-year-old children. Prosecutors say Michaela Gulliford and Tina Daly directed at least 6 children to have fistfights. The charges are connected to a 35-minute video that emerged back in 2016. It was reportedly recorded by a 10-year-old who was worried about his little brother. The Girl Scouts of America have filed a trademark infringement lawsuit against the Boy Scouts of America.
The Girl Scouts say the Boy Scouts have no monopoly over such terms as scouts when offering services to girls. The lawsuit was filed after the Boy Scouts said they would change their name to Scouts BSA in February of next year. Girls will be eligible to earn the Boy Scouts' highest rank, Eagle Scout. Now to a very different subject involving boys and girls. Potty training your toddler. It is a rite of passage parents both dread and sure look forward to completing.
But how do you know if your child is ready to ditch the diaper? A Boca Raton mom has found a unique way to help parents and toddlers tackle the tough task.
Everybody take a sip. Let's see if we can get this baby to drink this bottle.
Welcome to Potty Training Boot Camp, where the students are, well, still learning to speak.
Charlie, where's the pee-pee go? In the potty. Kaya and Mia, where's the pee-pee go? In the potty.
Melissa Adam is on a mission to make sure these kids leave her class ready to go.
It's an interactive, fun course, you know, and they really focus on giving the moms and the children the skills needed for independent pottying without even knowing it. That's the beauty of it.
The kids role play with dolls, filling them up with liquids and then letting the dolls go potty.
I think it's time. Pull off her underwear. Yay!
All the while, the kids have to stay hydrated too.
Everybody say drink, 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 baby.
The more they drink, the easier it will be to get them to go.
Jump, 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 land in. Where's the pee-pee go?
Melissa is a mother of 5 who knows all too well the shame and frustration oftentimes associated with potty training a toddler.
You name it, I did it, and just never helped. I had a mess in my house, and I was that frustrated parent. Let's pick the pot up, come on.
So she came up with an idea.
I started having potty parties with my friends, and I watched the kids in that environment, and I saw my kids come out of their comfort zone. Flush, bye-bye, pee-pee. And they were having fun doing it together. And I'm like, this may be something.
It's been 6 years since that initial class. Since then, Melissa has consulted with numerous doctors and specialists to formulate a program she says basically disproves most training techniques out there.
Those steps that Melissa teaches during the class, they work.
Landon, come here, Bubba, come flush.
Bonnie Billings struggled with teaching 3-year-old Landon how to use the potty. But after this 4-hour class,
I was high on life to be able to say, who of my friends want diapers? Because we have been diaper-free now since we took the class. We haven't had any accidents, even in bed at night.
What happens when we pee-pee in our pants? Everybody go like this. No, no, no.
Buffy Pagano took the class twice, once with her son Vincent, who is on the autism spectrum, and once with her daughter Charlie.
Went home, no diapers. We've been diaper-free since the day we walked into this class with both of my kids. 2 separate weeks, 2 separate kids. They were both diaper-free.
Andrea Turner had similar results with 3-year-old daughter Ava.
She peed in the class for the first time that day after 3 months of trying with 0 success, not a single pee or poop on the potty.
I can help them break that habit and teach the parents what things their child is actually going through mentally, physically, emotionally when they have an accident, so the parents can be one step ahead of their kid. And if the parents know what's happening with their child's body, the child's less apt to run and hide and have an accident. You don't have to get your hands dirty.
There are parents out there who might be watching their children struggle, and it might be not just frustrating for them, but frustrating for the children. And it's just the way she teaches it, the confidence it builds. I'm willing to drive over an hour to come to do this.
Well, that's cute, isn't it? Bye-bye.
So
Melissa has helped potty train more than 2,000 children, including my daughter Mia. The class costs $250. If you'd like more information, you can go to WPBF.com.
Listen, I got to tell you, if you haven't trained a toddler lately, or you never have, this was the happiest, most exciting story I've seen on the air here in quite some time.
Because you're going through this right now.
We're done, but we didn't ring any bells. Mike?
Can I say it? Bye-bye PP, huh? There we go. And let me also just say I'm so happy my kids are grown. Let's talk about the weather across South Florida tonight. Got a little bit of rain offshore. We'll show that to you at our first alert Doppler radar. At the moment, 78 degrees. The winds are light as a few rain showers move on shore, accompanied from time to time by a little bit of lightning. Here's our first alert Doppler radar. We're in that southerly, southeasterly flow, kind of a summertime weather pattern, and boy, is it wet across some parts of South Florida as these quick-moving showers drop some decent rain. They're moving off to the northwest at around 10 to 15. You can see West Palm Beach up toward Lake Park, Riviera Beach, out west toward Royal Palm. Showers moving your way. Let's track this one because this appears to be the heaviest, moving off toward the northwest at about 12 miles per hour. So you can see the locations. We'll see some rain and maybe hear a rumble of thunder for the next couple of hours or so as more showers move generally toward Palm Beach County. So far, nothing for the Treasure Coast, just some rain now in Palm Beach County. Meanwhile, as I mentioned, the summertime pattern. How about the overnight lows? Mid-70s, 76 tomorrow morning in Boca, 74 in Jupiter, 70 in Vero Beach and around Lake Okeechobee in the upper 60s. And across South Florida tomorrow, like today, we're way above average in the mid to upper range of the 80s. The heat goes on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Then what everyone's been waiting for, yes, finally some cooler air toward the middle part of next week. Tonight, got the coastal showers, especially Palm Beach County. Warm and humid overnight lows in the mid-range of the 70s. A few clouds, isolated showers tomorrow. But boy, it's going to be warm with temperatures in the mid-range of the 80s. Your boating forecast, easterly winds about 10, seas 2 to 3. Rip current risk in the moderate range tomorrow. Best chance of rain tomorrow comes early in the morning. As we head toward Friday, hardly anything at all. But look at the high temperature, 87. Weekend looks okay. A few isolated showers. Monday, 2. Then on Tuesday, ahead of the front, very warm. The potential for a record high. Then we cool off with temperatures on Wednesday in the 70s. And that's your weather.
All right, Mike, thank you. Right now, Tennessee is reeling after several tornadoes tore through the area. At least one person was killed and several others were injured in Rutherford County. Angie Walker was killed when her home collapsed during the storm. The National Weather Service confirmed an EF2 tornado that spawned 135-mile-per-hour winds had hit the area. Several other tornadoes were also recorded throughout the state, flattening homes and toppling cars. Utility companies are reporting that all power has been restored in the Panhandle after Hurricane Michael.
That is very good news. The companies report to the Public Service Commission and say they had 0 outages for the first time since that Category 4 hurricane made landfall nearly a month ago on Mexico Beach. Michael slammed into Florida's Panhandle with 155-mile-an-hour winds on October 10th. Knocking out power to more than 380,000 people. And after running loose in South Florida for months, this nasty-looking Nile monitor lizard has been captured in Davie.
Neighbors in the Nob Hill community were concerned that the large lizard, which is around 6 feet long and weighs 100 pounds, could pose a threat to pets and young children. Experts say while they're not known to be deadly to humans, a bite could be painful. Neighbors say it was spotted several times prowling around the neighborhood.
There was raccoon skulls back there that we found, and a lot of small birds, the burrowing owls. So it had a good food supply here. And I guess when the food supply ran out here, it started searching for more along those Griffin Road canals.
Yikes. Neighbors say a woman who lives nearby said the lizard is her pet. Florida Fish and Wildlife says it's legal to keep the animals as pets.
That's why it was at the patio door.
We'll be right back.
First Alert Weather is sponsored in part by CMI Air Conditioning and Electrical.
Mrs. Richards' dishwasher overflowed.
I was panicked. Water was everywhere, so I called Stanley Steamer. You guys showed up so fast, got everything dry.
And back to normal.
That's why I call.
Stanley Steamer gets your home cleaner.
At Pollo Tropical, everyone's unique.
I'm number 2011 with crispy Pollo Bites.
I'm 800 on mac and cheese.
I'm 48 with marinated grilled chicken breast.
With so many fresh ingredients, there are 12,650 ways to create your own Tropi Chop. Even more with new kids' Tropi Chop bowls. And here's a number you'll really love. Right now, get your Tropi Chop with a regular Coca-Cola for just $5.99. So find your number. Pollo Tropical, citrus marinated chicken.
Hi, I'm attorney Christopher Pizzone from Rubenstein Law, and this is Rubenstein's Rules for Personal Injury. Rule number 9, head injuries are serious. You can get a brain injury from whiplash without even hitting your head. Sometimes symptoms of a traumatic brain injury can be subtle. Watch out for changes in personality or behavior. Your family may notice it first. At Rubenstein Law, we make sure all your injuries are addressed, especially head injuries.
For all these rules and more, go to rubensteinlaw.com.
First little doggy was a white one. That little birdie was too. Second little doggy.
Leaving a career to follow a calling takes courage.
Pair of shoes and they were free. Bird dog.
A personalized financial strategy can give you confidence to take the next step.
Hi, guys.
Doggies off to see the world.
Oh, yeah.
See how access to JP Morgan investment expertise can help you. Chase, make more of what's yours.
I want only the best when it comes to caring for my most precious gift. At Pediatric Associates, they provide love and care 365 days a year.
I love all the doctors. They take the time to know you and care about your child.
They're great and professional, nice and caring. Anything needed, they provide.
I've relied on Pediatric Associates for over 15 years. With flexible after hours 7 days a week, there's no need to wait in the ER. They're awesome.
Pediatric Associates. We're here when you need us, with convenient locations near you.
Did you know Stanley Steamer's the one to call in a water emergency? With a fleet of over 3,000 vans, we get there fast, 24/7. Call 1-800-STEAMER and get back to dry.
Stanley Steamer gets your home cleaner.
Star Trek fans can now go where no one has gone before. In Southern California real estate, that is.
If you have a lot of money, because the Malibu home featured in an episode of Star Trek The Next Generation is on the market. The ultra-modern home provided a setting for the 1989 episode The Survivors. You remember that one, don't you? All right, maybe not. The 4-bedroom, 3.5-bath home sits on 2 acres of land, features a 10-car garage, a rose garden, and a stunning ocean view. Not bad. The luxury will cost you $5.7 million. It's out of this world. Wow. Unless, of course, you win the lottery. Here are tonight's winning numbers. You're watching WPBF 25 News at 11.
WPBF 25 Beach and Boating Forecast, sponsored by AutoBuy.
More moving horror stories.
Don't let the wrong family move your family.
Hey. Good grief, to the rescue.
As a former police officer, I've heard all the moving horror stories, but you can trust me and my pros will have you saying, call Star Green.
AutoBuy, America's #1 Google-rated car buying company, makes it easy to sell your quality used vehicle. Bring your quality used vehicle to any AutoBuy location for our signature 20-minute offer to buy. Once accepted, you'll leave with money in hand. It's that easy. Over 150,000 people have visited AutoBuy, and we've purchased over $1.5 billion in vehicles. Don't sell your quality used vehicle to anyone. Visit AutoBuy and get the max. AutoBuy. WePayTheMax.com.
Do you know
why Stenger, ISCO, and Green is all about the numbers?
Because we care about our community. We volunteered over 14,000 hours of community service.
Nice.
And over $1.6 million to local charities.
That's making a difference.
And in the